It is no secret that I love video games, and rivaling my love for video games is my love for film and television. Some of my favorite shows and movies share similar genres to the video games I enjoy playing the most. I am among many others who share the same passions for these fictional mediums, and directors such as Paul W.S. Anderson and Rocky Morton decided, hey, why don't we just make the best of both worlds? I mean, the story's already written for us right there. We can just take the story, alter a few plot points to fit the film genre, and bada bing bada boom, absolute cinema. And they look at me and say, hey, you like video games and movies? Wanna watch our films? And I look at them, and I look at their adaptations and think, no, I'm good. But why is that? Why don't certain adaptations perform while others become box office successes? What makes these films appealing to both the player base and new audiences? Well, I've found that the deciding factor between success and failure appears in 3 categories. But first, I'll focus on the first category: fidelity versus translation. Now, this category essentially summarizes what gets lost in translation between the source material and the product, and why that works for some adaptations and definitely not for others. Video games are experienced, not just watched. Successful adaptations don't attempt to recreate the events of a game. They reinterpret why it mattered. That why is one of the most important factors in whether or not an adaptation is digestible to both the original fanbase and new audiences alike. There are some examples of adaptations relying on the title and gimmick of video games that may critically miss the mark. An example being the Minecraft movie, which was heavily a box office gimmick, but had the nostalgia appeal to tens of millions of people who have played the game, and clearly made with some love, I will give it that. Enough people know what Minecraft is for them to make their money back automatically, but an adaptation can really shine if it can capture the why. Take the basic plot of The Last of Us, for example. Man has daughter, man loses daughter, man angry, man faces world-ending apocalypse, man meets girl, girl reminds man far too much of daughter, man angry, man forced to hang out with girl, girl becomes important to man, happy ending. That was a very accurate analysis. Now, the reason this plot resonates with so many people heavily correlates to the idea of attachment, love, connection, and grief.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel, but I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
The game has themes that are heavily relatable to audiences in all walks of life.
You're right.
The reason the HBO series is so critically successful is due to the more digestible format of a TV show, and it maintained the themes of the original game. The series did not lose the original why in translation, therefore became a successful adaptation in the eyes of players and viewers. For the most part, I mean, it has its flaws. Now, before my research, I thought,
well, if the show delivers the same message as the game, why don't people just play the game? I mean, why adapt it in the first place?
A very good question, Beck, in the previous voiceover clip. Well, that all comes down to, I believe there's a wider audience for film and TV rather than video games because of time, money, and coordination. Certain story games can take anywhere from 10 to 80 plus hours to complete from beginning to end. If a similar story were offered in a 2-ish hour format, about 80% of audiences would opt for the shorter option. Similarly, video games can range anywhere from $5 to $90 for dozens of hours of experience, whereas a movie ticket or a Netflix subscription can be $10 to $30. Apart from the time crunches and the pocket emptying, video games have a language to them. If you went into a random group of 100 people and asked them all what the difference between a mana bar and a health bar was, a good 40% of them would have absolutely no idea, and the other 60% would call the police because you approached them rather aggressively. There are also the physical demands of a video game, especially for controller players, where a great deal of hand-eye coordination is required, which is not easily accessible to certain demographics and age groups. The only thing required for a movie is your butt, somewhere to sit, and your eyes. All of these points can provide an argument for why adaptations are needed, and, when done right, a great way to spread the gospel of video game stories to a larger audience.
Road trip? Woo-hoo!
Hollywood higher-ups see an absolute gold mine for general audiences by taking a popular video game title, altering the delivery, and sit back allowing the source material to do the work. I mean, would you rather see the Mario movie or a random title nobody has ever heard of that has hardly ever been advertised? But certain adaptations can shine if they're able to align with We're all aware that Hollywood studios take on certain projects merely for profit, not naming any names or anything. But some studios rise above the bigwig mentality and come together to create visual and creative masterpieces for the love and adoration of the source material. More often than not, successful adaptations are created by the fans and/or for the fans. For example, Scott Cawthon, creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, was also heavily involved in the creation of the movies, though some adaptations attempt to stray away from the source material as far as they can, and even going as far as, admittedly, not playing the entirety of the original game. Yes, I'm looking at you, writers of the Until Dawn movie. The heart of any media is heavily fueled by fans. Without an adoring crowd, developers and filmmakers lose motivation and funds to continue producing quality products for consumers to enjoy. That being said, if you want your adaptation to be successful, you might want to look into the heart of the original and why people love it so much before you go and change everything. I'm looking at you, the writers of the Until Dawn movie. I will admit, I have watched some pretty terrible adaptations and still had an absolute blast watching them. Before pursuing my research, I had a bad perception of video game adaptations. I am partial to their predecessors and would far rather recommend someone a game rather than its adaptation. I believe there is something to be said, however, to the digestibility of film and TV. They allow stories that I deeply care about to be viewed by those who can't or won't access them in a video game. So, if you'd rather watch the movie, that's fine by me. Just know you're severely missing out, and the games often provide a way more in-depth and fun experience, and also some of the film adaptations are really bad. Also, here's my favorite comment from the last video. Bye.